It's been a long day. Yeah. Had to take the thing the long way. Yeah. Make them hits like a bone tape. Yeah. Me with her, then she gon' say. Make a dance, feel the body. We go down, downtown. She go down while we ride it. Take a chance, spin the body. Make a dance, feel the body. We go down, downtown. She go down while we ride it. Look how she dancing. She ready, no fly. Look how she dancing. She ready, no tie. Look how she dancing. She ready, no fly. Look how she dancing. She ready, no tie. Oh, summertime. Day goes some high, some low, sunshine, but she's so cold. Summertime. Day goes some high, some low, sunshine, but she's so cold. So tell me what it is, motherfucker. How it came from the sticks, motherfucker. Some people still live, motherfucker. And they ain't tryna change shit, motherfucker. Still I'm like, oh, summertime. Day goes some high, some low, sunshine, but she's so cold. Day goes some high, some low, sunshine, but she's so cold, so cold.
North County, we're here. The living dead. Outside lands. Yeah. Two words, San Diego, we able to eat at the same table. Yesterday's fable is today's reality. Welcome to what I call the hip-hop academy of cool, calm calamity. Two words, hip-hop, no chain, wristwatch, no range, marijuana, cocaine, website domains, anonymous, no name, no face, just brain. Learn to play the fucking game. I'm saying two words, outside lenses, gente, gon' live for the moment. Step out with the homies. It's a takeover, SD makeover, no layover. We already here. Two words, gun control, don't patrol no more. I defend my own and everybody I know. Streets stay hot, try me not. Raised in this game, so everybody move. Two words, drug use, El Chapo, old news. But the drugs are still used, malabuse, you lose. It's an epidemic, methamphetamines, grandmamas open it. Whole world smoking things. Two words, North County, Oceanside, I'm alive. Hip-hop till I die, write rhymes every night. Cyphers gon' bring the light, lightweight, Miller Lite. Yes, I'm down to fight, bout to soar like a kite.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It's your boy Michael Gabriel. Thank you guys for tuning in this Thursday. This is the earliest that we've started, and I wanted to because my two gentlemen I know are used to be on time and probably would kick my ass. My brother Puri Delicio and my brother Kevin just came in. I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time. Military veterans, and man, just very thankful that you guys took the time. It's awesome to have you here. I want to offer my friends, my family, the perspective, and I get to do things like this to interview cool people and people that I think can get stories out. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. I want to start off with, where does this relationship start with you two guys? As far, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Where did you guys meet? Pause.
Right. So I'll start.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kev.
I joined the military when I was 18 years old, and then came, did the boot camp, then the schools, and then found out I was going on this sick deployment called the 31st Meal. And I was like, yes, I'm going to go see all these countries. This is going to be great, right?
Okay.
Puri was a crew chief in that platoon in second section, and I ended up in first section. And then, I was a younger guy. These guys are all senior. Sir. They just got back from Iraq, right? So I was like, hey, all of our guys are like, they're leaders, like all shit, right?
Yeah.
And then while we're in Okinawa, I remember the typhoon was going to hit. And they were like, hey, you guys are going to come to, I think, Camp Hansen and go to this interview, or not this interview, but the auditorium. Sorry.
Yeah, the auditorium.
And they were like, hey, and we were like, oh, it's a TC-1 Echo. I remember all you guys, Puri, all you guys, and the crew chiefs were like, hey, listen, they're going to talk about this typhoon. They're going to lock down the base. So what you guys are going to do is buy as much beer as possible, because we get to stay in our rooms for like 5 or 6 days, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, this is cool, man. And thinking we're going to all these great countries. We're going to go to the Philippines, Malaysia, all these places. Australia was like one of them that was on that one.
Yep.
So we were sitting in this auditorium, and I remember this. And Trevor Allenby was sitting behind me. He was another corporal. He was sitting next to Puri. And the first slide said classified. And then it clicked over. It goes, welcome to Fallujah.
Oh. Fuck.
Listen, right. Did you hear his response?
Yeah.
Fuck. No, I leaned over to my buddy, Donnie Chapman, and went, yo, is that in the Philippines? and Trevor Allenby smacked me in the back of the head. Right. Was like, bitch, we're going to Iraq tomorrow. And I'm like, what? So then that's when I like full bore bought in. I was like, wait, all these guys, like I was 18, so I didn't really understand how everything went. But all these guys had just come back, and I was like, yo, so tie yourself to like a good team and like guys that'll look after you. And like that's like when I really engaged with Puri, and then we kind of like, made this. It's crazy if you think about it now. We've been friends for 19 years, because I would have retired. Yeah. So 19,
almost 20.
Yeah, almost 20 would be this October would be 20.
Yep.
And it was like, I just felt kind of gravitated to him. I knew that he had a ton of knowledge.
Yeah.
I knew that he had already been there, but then he also was a level-headed leader. So I was like, let's go. Like, this is my kind of dude. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, because remember, we were friends because you and Jimenez were best
me and
friends.
Jimmy. Good old Jimmy.
Right.
That's right. Yep.
So Jimmy and him went on the first pump. Jimmy was my crew chief.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were always hanging out together, talking about, hey, this is how we do this. This is how we do this. So then kind of looking after it, like, or looking over these guys as a young man, like trying to figure out what they're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, those dudes are boys, and look how well they operate. Yeah. So then I kind of got in the loop with these guys, and it was good.
Well, kudos to you in much respect as an 18-year-old being able to think and analyze and be able to see energy. When you first met him or saw him, was he as funny and like, I don't know, man, just so Kevin? Was he as much Kev as he is now?
Kevin's always been, well, back then, like, the senior and the junior guy.
Yeah.
Right. But Kevin's always had that like way about him of like kind of goofy, but very good with people. So he was very good at like talking and communicating with all of us. And so we brought him in, like, even as leaders, we're like, oh, this guy's good, man.
Worth it.
So we're going to take him in.
10-4.
So it was good, man. And so
Fallujah.
I know, right?
Shit. And you already knew that you were going, and he didn't know.
No, so that was the first time. Like, they took us all down there, and so there was.
We're good.
There was like, there's 3 platoons. I know, right? Get down. No, there's 3 platoons.
Okay.
And so they had our platoon go down to where Kevin was talking about, and that's when we found out.
Gotcha.
Right. And so we were the best platoon to go to Fallujah in 2004. Yeah.
2004. And that was the second time you went back?
That's the second time I was
and that
there,
was your first
That
time.
was his first time, yeah.
Okay. So is there, obviously there's instructions, you know, you're talking about type of people, what to expect, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
What's the mentality from, okay, let's say, what's the mentality from someone who's first coming in? How are you preparing yourself to go to Iraq?
I'm not. I'm listening to him. Dear Lord, hang on.
Still asking if they're going to the Philippines, bro.
Right. I know, right? Yeah. I thought I was going to Thailand.
I thought we were going to the Philippines, man.
Fuck, Kev. Where did you come from?
Maryland.
Maryland.
I was born and raised in Maryland.
Nice.
What about you?
That's all we do. Sorry.
So well, I was born in Colorado, Denver. And then when I was a teenager, we moved out to California. So I'm from a town called Three Rivers, California. And it's probably about 5 hours north of here. And then after I graduated high school, I went to Santa Barbara, UCSB. And so that's where I started partying, man, at UCSB. And I was like, fuck, I can't do this. So I joined the military in 2001 out of Santa Barbara.
Dang.
Yeah.
What were you at Santa Barbara for? Was it education?
Yeah. I was going, you know, the dream of high schoolers, right? Like, oh, I'm going to go to college and do this and do that. And that's what I did, right? I went to college. I just started partying, dude. I was like, this is not working out.
You were better at partying than you were in college.
Exactly.
What was one of the craziest parties you had in college?
Fuck, bro. I don't know if you ever have been down to where UCSB is, right? And like, fuck, man, they get down there. So like the one of the things that I remember the most about partying in college is like we were down there at UCSB and got so fucked up with all these girls and whatever, right? And so this apartment next door was moving, and we took the couches out in the street and lit them on fire, and we all were partying around, and we're like, yeah, dude, this is crazy. And I was like, man, I gotta change my ways, dude. And so
So then it was just military, or was there somebody in your family that inspired you to join? Or
so I had a buddy that out of high school that was in the Marines, right? And like, and I was talking to him, and he was like, I'm in this country, and like I'm in doing this, and I was like, damn, that sounds badass. Yeah. And so I was like, I could do that, no problem. Yeah. Like, what am I doing right now? Right, I'm partying in college, and I was painting houses at the time, like a contractor, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna join.
And the discipline and leadership that Kev's talking about, is that something that was learned beforehand or after the partying, or just from your instructors?
So it all came to me in the military.
Gotcha.
It did. Just the day-to-day discipline, waking up early, fucking being consistent, right? Like it all came in the military, and
gotcha.
I liked it. And so I don't know, it worked for me, and and so like, becoming a leader and like having all these guys look up to you. Yeah, obviously, you want to be that person, right? Yeah. You don't want to be a fuck up leader, right?
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And where was it the same type of attributes when you got in that you started to learn the discipline? Did you like it too? Or
so mine was a little bit different. Was like what?
I don't know. Just anything you say is funny. Mine's a little bit different. I know it's coming. Go ahead.
No, but when you think about it, he's in college, right?
Yeah.
I joined right out of high school.
Yeah.
And then being in Maryland, I grew up in a small town. Yeah, I grew up in a small town in Maryland, and my dad worked his ass off. Like I was telling you before we started, he ran a Budweiser distributor. Yeah, for 31 years, right? And just killed it. And I worked for them before I joined the military. And they was like, hey, listen, you should go to college and study business management. And then look, this could all be your kingdom, right? Mm. That's kind of like it was. Mm. But I knew where I was at when I was a sophomore. I was a fuck up. So I was like, and it wasn't like that, but it was like, I didn't party crazy, or, I didn't go crazy or anything like that. But at the same time, it's like, he was like, Kevin, if you want to go to college, I'll pay for it and all that shit. And like, it was good. But I was like, why am I going to waste this money when I know that I'm not going to, like, I'm going to go there and party hard. So, and what happened was my best friend's older brother was already in the Marines. So the recruiter was like hanging around the house. And he was like, and it was, he ended up being a tracker. It was Gunny Long Molino from the East Coast.
No shit.
And so he was like, hey, you should join the Marine Corps. Like, we think you'd be a good wheeler. You got some vibrato. You could be a leader. Like, told me though, you could definitely be a Marine.
You'll make a good Marine, man.
And then, so I just was like, Dad, this is what I want to do. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, I support you. And then I'm joking, drove out that driveway. I graduated in August and then drove out that driveway in October and never looked back. Like, I've lived in California since I joined the Marine Corps. I did a small stint in Quantico, Virginia, but I've been out here the whole time. My whole family lives in the same town.
Wow.
So I miss it. Like, I want to go home, right? But it's provided a great life for me.
Amen.
So I didn't understand any of that leadership, but I kind of got it because my dad built a good foundation. But at the same time, Puri and these Marines and the guys that I attracted to, my dad built the foundation. They built the fucking house with my help. Like, what do you say? I'm a painter.
Yeah.
Well, Puri painted that's
He
was
was
what
a
it
contractor.
Right. Yeah. That's what it was.
On the contrary, though, was there sides of it as far as people in there that you got a bad vibe from them? Was there cliques, or was it everybody understanding that we're here to do a job?
Shit.
Now to the hard question.
Well, the thing is, about the military, right? Like, or probably any business organization, there you go. There's always those individuals that ruffle people's feathers, right? And make things harder for people. And I don't know. I mean, there's always those kind of people, and you're just like, man. And the thing is like, when I think about it, is like, and they're in leadership positions, right? Like these kind of people. And it's like, man, like I think to myself, like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, these guys aren't going to respect you. Like, so change your ways, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there is a lot of that stuff.
The interesting thing for me is, and I love being able to do this podcast with this sense, you'll find people in your realm, in my realm, in any realm,
right,
that are like that.
In every realm.
It's weird.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't, even the most successful people still, you'll find those types of personalities or, negative attributes. It trips me out.
Right.
Yeah.
Success don't give a fuck.
No.
And that's when the leadership comes into play, and being able to deal with that and being able to handle all those different egos and type of personalities.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And move the spectrum to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
But it's fucking crazy because we can be working at Walmart and I got a fucking issue, but you guys got fucking guns.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's the same problem.
But it's the same problem, dog.
It's the same
I got a
problem.
bazooka though, but I'm insecure.
Right. Right.
What the fuck?
I don't like you.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
West Coast. You like the Raiders. I don't know. Fuck you. This is stupid. Holy shit. God bless everybody.
Right.
Holy balls. So we get to Iraq. What and how long did we stay there? Can I ask? Is that
That's fine.
okay?
Yeah.
How long did you stay?
Well,
The second time.
Yeah. We were there for October. Well, we got there. Shit. Overall, it's probably, I would say, about 9 months altogether.
And you guys got there together for 9 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you left at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we got the
left
word
right after July 6th. Or July 4th. We had the beach bash in Delmar. And then we left right after that. And then we got back in
Okinawa, Japan.
Yep. And then we got back in May from stateside.
Right.
But I'm saying, so you're right. So then we got the word that we were going. And then 3 weeks in Okinawa to prep the vehicles. And do you remember this? We splashed to Kuwait on September 11th.
Yeah, that's right.
2004.
Yeah.
Kev be saying shit like, and it's dope as fuck, and I don't know what I mean, like a splash, and then every time you speak, a tracker, I'm like, this motherfucker.
So
yeah, man, we're civilians out here.
I'm talking weed, man.
So amphibious assault vehicle was our job.
Okay.
So you see Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
With the John boats.
Okay.
Right.
The very beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
So
the opening scene.
They created our MOS.
Okay.
And MOS is a job. Let me dumb all this down for you.
Dude, come on, Kev.
Yeah. So they created our job. Instead of having those open John boats, now you can bring the infantry from ship to shore to assault inside objective.
Okay.
Like on land.
Yes, sir.
So that's what a splash is.
Got you.
Damn, straight out of the TM.
So
right
what's
there.
a tracker? So what's a tracker?
Well, that's what it's called. You ain't tracks, you ain't shit. look, Mike. Look at my feet.
Holy shit.
Yes.
I'm gonna show the camera.
Show him.
Yeah.
No, because then people are gonna. we'll get a foot thingamajigger going.
Oh, a fetish.
Yeah, foot
I got
fetish.
OnlyFans. Just log it.
Oh my God. Fucking Kevin. dude.
This
so
man
yeah.
is looking to get swept off his feet. yo.
Yeah. So tracker is what? So it's a tracked vehicle.
Okay.
So they called us trackers.
Right.
And so we did those splashes and things like that. But that's what I was saying. So September 11th, 2004 is when we left the boat to splash into Kuwait. Now Kuwait's a, part of our, you land there safely and things like that, right?
Yeah.
We just got set up there.
Yeah.
But then we moved up to
Where? Are you talking about in Fallujah?
Yeah.
Shit.
Camp Fallujah. That was like 3 weeks before the attack or no?
Right. No, it was 2 weeks before the attack.
2 weeks. Right.
Yep. And we set up there. Yeah. So he's talking about Iraq, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We landed in Kuwait. We moved all the way up into the outskirts of Fallujah, 2004. And so we sat there. We were attached to 1-3 Battalion 1-3. They're out of Hawaii. So that's the infantry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as trackers, we have infantry guys, the guys that run around the ground,
Yeah.
kicking in doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We support them and they ride in
Gotcha.
our vehicles and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, man. The Battle of Fallujah, right? We started in October 8th, I believe it was.
Yep.
It is when we crossed the LOD that night, right? Raining, fucking crazy. It was a crazy auspicious night, right? Like very like eerie and like it was wicked, bro. And so that night of October 8th of 2004, we're bombing the city and then we get the word to go in and like shit. We'll get into details, right? So we have 13 vehicles, 14 on some platoons, and we're traveling. There's probably like 23 to 25 guys in the back of these vehicles, and there's 3 of us operating them, and there's 14 of them in a row, right? We're going in, and raining, dark, and we get to the LOD, which is the line of departure, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay,
What does that mean?
Drop off.
so yeah, basically drop off, right? So all the vehicles we're traveling in a line, right?
Yeah.
A couple miles out, in the night, we travel to the LOD is when we spread out and we all get online, right?
Yeah.
And then we drop the ramps, the back of the vehicle opens up, and all the guys run out, right?
Yeah.
And so they're on the LOD.
Gotcha.
And all of a sudden, gunfire. One of the vehicles, Trevor Allenby, he got hit with a daisy chain IED, right? An IED, the improvised explosive device.
Yes.
Daisy
chain though,
it was a daisy chain. So
they all tied together.
Yeah. So these insurgents, right? They 155 rounds, which is like a howitzer, like it's a big round, right? So they tie these all together, they bury them, and they're meant to fuck up tanks, right? Tracked vehicles. And Trevor Allenby got hit hard and blew off the whole side of the vehicle. I was right behind Trevor Allenby, and I'm looking through my night vision and I'm seeing guys with missing arms, and I don't know if you guys want to get into this kind of detail, but
it's all right.
Go
We're
into
here.
it, if you'd like.
To be honest, this is really fucking cool.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest.
It's crazy, right?
Cool
I mean, I know, but I'm just from a civilian and getting to hear these stories after now. It
So-
makes me want to light a joint. And see, you did it. He's got a cigar going.
Yes.
Okay, come.
And so we're, I'm behind Trevor Allenby's the first vehicle, right? And I'm behind him, and then the section leader's behind us, which was Casillas. And he got hit hard, Trevor Allenby, and blew off the whole side of the vehicle. Like I said, there's, I see guys with missing arms, and like, our automatic, thing to do is, all right, let all these motherfuckers out, right? Like they need help, like let them out. Like maybe the docs can, or the corpsman can fix them up. And so I'm watching like all these guys come out of this vehicle all fucked up. I'm like, holy, like this is fucking real, bro. Like here we go, right? And so, and I radio over, I'm like, he got hit. Everybody needs to get online. So all the vehicles start getting online, and gunfire just starts going, bro.
Spray and print.
Like
the whole
and you have to see,
deal.
like the city is like probably like the face of the Fallujah is probably, I would say, about a football field away.
Okay.
And so, you know, in our vehicles, they carry 50 caliber machine guns
Gotcha.
and 40 millimeter grenade launchers.
Oh,
And we're let all the infantry out and we're just fucking opening up on the
Yeah,
city, right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, it was a crazy night.
Wow.
It was a crazy fucking night.
How many days was that? Were you there for?
So that was the first night, right?
Yeah.
And so daybreak, right? And that's when it all started, right? Like all the infantry, you know, they're going door to door.
Yeah.
They got the foothold, and then we started going clearing blocks
Clearing
of houses.
blocks.
Yeah. So
Right.
basically, it's spread out, and then we're going this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And at the same time, look, we're talking about Battalion 1-3, the RCT, and we got battalions next to each other. Like how many was? I'm
There
sorry,
was 5 altogether,
yeah,
right?
5
battalions
doing the same thing through the whole city.
right.
Like it was just pushing them and
Right.
pushing them and pushing them.
Right.
And it was nonstop. And how many days was it? He said it. It was the deployment was 9 months. We got extended 3 times because we were just.
Yeah.
It was
We
the
had to
biggest
clean
house
that
clearing
city.
since Way City in
Yeah,
Vietnam.
in Vietnam.
Got you.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And the crazy thing about it, right? And like they you know, before we all went in, you know, there's always they drop papers like into the city
Yeah.
saying, you know, if you pick this paper up, you need to get the fuck out of here or we're gonna fucking kill you, right? And so all those papers were all over the place. And so our word that we got, if there's any middle-aged male men, like
Shoot.
fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Which is understandable in that
that's what we
situation.
did.
So, from your mentality of being there the first time,
Fucking
terrified?
yeah, I wasn't there the first time.
No, I'm saying you're there. Your
I'm
first
there
time
now.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
We get out everything that he just described. How were you feeling
Buddy.
in those moments?
buddy. Okay, so I'm gonna say, and I already thought about saying this before, and I've said this to other people. Fallujah was 2 things to me, right? Fallujah was the curse, right? The curse being as young as I was to see that much bad stuff, right? Fallujah was also the gift to have leaders like Puri, leaders like Jimmy, like
Yeah.
Casillas, Smokey, Shadow, like
Yes.
these guys that were. I mean, I think about it. Like I was, you know, they were 20. You were 22 when Fallujah
Yeah,
happened.
22.
Right.
Dude.
And
Yeah,
he's in
bro.
charge of people.
Yeah,
I just did whatever the fuck I was told as fast as I could do it.
Mhm.
And the gift to me was that I had guys that understood it and knew it and that's when I like that you asked me earlier. That's when I bought in 100%.
Yeah.
I'm like these guys know what the fuck is going on. Pay attention, follow them, and move as fast as you fucking can.
Yeah.
And that that first night was it was insane because I had the line charge kit which set the daisy chain off.
Well, that's
We were
right.
towing the line charge kit to blow up the train tracks so we could go through. So we had C4. It's on a rocket, and we had it in like a no shit. Like look, your car could have towed that same thing in here. It was like this trailer bouncing around like all over desert. I'm like, man, this is not safe at all, bro. That thing blew up, and the back hatch swung open, and I fell out.
Oh, that's right.
And that's when I saw the tracer rounds. I'm like, yeah, we were in
Holy
combat.
fuck.
This is bad. Like nothing, like you said, steel. It was like no shit, steel wall. Just and Jeremy Cleaver, like I had
Yes.
all these guys that were like
young
you could
kids,
drink-
man.
young kids, but
Yeah.
you could drink a beer with every day, making
Decisions.
insane, smart, tactical decisions and looking out for the best interest, not for the crews, right? For like he said, each vehicle had 23 people loaded up in it. They're making decisions to cover 150 people, 180 people.
Right.
And it's like, and they all did it to the T, and it was spot on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's impressive and that's crazy and
Yeah.
that's a lot to be asked of someone at 22
That young, right?
to be able to
Fuck.
do that
And
stuff.
the 17, 18-year-old kids, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Let me try to lighten it up a little bit in the sense of like, what's the funniest thing that happened
Oh shit.
in Fallujah?
Yeah.
Some
So there was one, the LOD. We were setting up on the outskirts, right? Right before that day starts. And something happened to our vehicle. The engine messed up and it wasn't cooling it. So Tony Wise, my driver, or not my driver, I was a recruitment, so I was a young guy. And
Yeah.
Jimmy was the crew chief. Tony Wise I mean, just a beast of a man, right? He's a driver sitting in this little thing, like his arms are like tucked.
It's like
this.
it's like The Incredibles.
Yeah,
Dad's in the car, just like,
that was Tony Wise. So
huge kid, man.
Something messed up, and we had to lift the plenums up. And the plenums are the whole thing to cool it, and it's huge, and you need 2 people to do it. Well, I'm like, all right, I'm like 18, you know, at that time. I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm bigger now, but at that time I was like 175. You need 2 people to pick it up. Tony sits in the driver's station. He's like, Wheeler, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. He stands there and does it. Well, right before he does it, my crew chief goes, Wheeler, are you trying to get your head shut off?
Right.
Because I'm standing straight up on the vehicle. We haven't done anything, and I don't know how real combat is yet because we haven't done anything. We're on the outskirts of the city. So I'm thinking about knocking my head shut off. I didn't see where I stepped, and I stepped into the driver's station and blew my nuts out. Like I stepped right into Tony's lap. So he's holding this whole plenum up. I stepped into his lap, like fell over on the vehicle. He's holding me so I'm off the side of the vehicle. And he's like, Wheeler, get the fuck off me. And he just puts a bolt in there. The 916 bolt.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, God, get him in the back. He's a fucking idiot. Like,
That's funny, dude.
I mean, but it's like small things like that. And like I said, like the night fell out the vehicle, but it was like, that's the other thing. So they had all these houses wired, right? So if you kicked in the front door, the infantry is supposed to kick in the front door. Propane tanks are gonna go off and blow up the bottom.
Shit.
So guess what they made guess what they started making us do? You would drive that vehicle like a monster truck and punch in the side of the house.
Yep.
And I was like, let's go. Like I'm like, gaga. Like it was.
That's right.
It was, yeah. It was like,
fuck, dog?
and that's
Bro,
what it was. It was
so you
learning
just-
on the fly.
So you just rammed the fucking
The side of the house,
Yeah.
yeah.
so it didn't blow up.
So
then the
and
infantry
that
went
way
to
you
halt
made the entryway
for the infantry to go in.
and you wouldn't. The house wouldn't blow up because of the propane.
Yes.
I mean, it was
Wild,
nuts.
huh?
It was nuts. And that's all these guys making those decisions. Like I'm like, my
On the
crew,
fly.
right? My crew chief was like, "Hey, Wheeler, see that house?" I'm like, "Yeah." We need to let the infantry in the front door. Like again, I'm not a driver, right? I'm like, okay, when we get out, we're gonna let the infantry in there. They're like, nah, hit the side of it. Like, I'm like, okay. So then when they finally let me drive, you would have thought I was on like timing myself on the 60. Like I was like, knocked the whole wall. Well, there's nobody in there now. I just drove the whole fucking house. Right.
If he's in there, he's dead.
Right, yeah.
He ain't happy.
Yeah. If he in there, he ain't happy. Right.
Oh my God.
So it was like adapt and overcome it, like at its finest. And it was like, I mean, it was crazy.
It was the wild, wild west, man.
Right.
Fallujah
100%.
was 100%.
Right.
It's just really cool to see you guys obviously be home and get through these kind of things and build a relationship, to build the rapport. I can just imagine the type of relationships you guys have with the guys that you know what I mean, that you served with.
Yeah.
You know,
Huge bond.
Yeah.
Huge.
And from a civilian's standpoint, thank you for the service. You know what I mean?
Appreciate
and
it.
you guys brought it up earlier. And it's really cool to hear the mentality of, hey, we fight so people can have these choices and do these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a special kind of person.
Freedom of speech. Yep.
Fucking A, man.
Right.
Yes,
This country is allowed to do what they want to do. And it does. And again, I might not agree with it. I'll tell you a true story from 2 nights ago. We went to a baseball game and my son stands up and the national anthem starts playing. My son and my daughter stand up. We both stand up and I stand at POA and don't move. Right. I'm doing that. My son's sitting there with his hand over his heart.
Respect.
And, yeah. And I see, and again, and that's okay. Like, and I don't agree with it, but there's like kids sitting down and there's dads with like hats on.
Yeah.
And there's a little
Right.
in
And I
my,
could see.
for a second, I'm like, and I'm like, nope, you're allowed to make those decisions because of the people that fought for this country.
Yeah.
Past and present.
Right.
So like, you know, if you make those decisions, then that's fine. And I don't want it to anger me. Obviously, I want everybody to feel the same way, but that's why America is the greatest country on earth.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Excuse me. No,
Bush beer.
I definitely Bush beer. I definitely can understand it, and it's cool that you can. I just, bro, it's in this reality where we have people that only see one way. It's such a beauty to see people that can see things a couple different ways. To have the understanding of you've earned the right, in my opinion, you've earned the right to feel that way, but to not let that shit fuck up your spirit is the key.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we can't control what other people do. You know what I mean? But once again, it's your responsibility to live your life the way that you want to. so you can know that you did your job, and you know, and you could be an example to your kids and the people around you.
And that's what I've kind of moved forward with. And, you know, I've been out of the military since 2019. I still work for the government, but I've been out of active duty service since 2019. But the way my approach now, and you think there's so many things that have happened, like in America, you know, since 2019, prior to me going in, like a bunch of crazy stuff, right? If I were, Puri and I have had long conversations about this because he feels the same way. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we've talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm worried about my roof, my wife, my son, and
your
my
little
daughter.
circle. Yep.
If I worry about my roof, then why should I worry about anything else? And it shouldn't affect me. And here's my other thing: if other people worried about their roof, and not like what Joe Schmo on Facebook is doing 8,000 miles away, so you can turn his opinion. No, worry about your roof, and then guess what? It'll end up being better. And like, there's things that need to be spoke out on, and I agree with all that. But I can't control those things, so I just control my happiness and my kids, and so they can see the way that their upbringing is, and then they can act effectively. And look, Puri does. Yeah, our kids hang out all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, that's another cool thing about, you know, you guys have kids that can hang out. And
his oldest daughter watches my youngest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they hang out all the time, man. It's great. That's good stuff. Family for sure.
If you don't mind me asking, how old is your youngest?
She's Emily's 8 years old, man. Gotcha. 3rd grade this year. Ooh, getting old.
And you got kids too?
Yep. My son turns 11 at the end of the month, and my daughter is 13. In September she'll be 14.
If they want to join the military, is that something that you guys would encourage?
I've thought about that. And Cameron's my daughter's like, hey, Dad. She remembers like the late nights, right? My son was a little bit younger.
The deployments and all
that.
Yeah,
I'm like, and my daughter was like, she's gonna go ride horse competitions. That's what she loves to do. So, but my son has asked me that. Dad, would you be mad at me if I wanted to join the military? No, I would not. I wouldn't push you to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be your decision. Right. And then, because then you have the buy-in that I had when I was a kid meeting him. Like if my dad would have told me to do that, I'd be like, all right, I'll do my 4 years and I'll get the hell out of here. No. But it was such a family-oriented thing where my dad was like, hey, are you sure you want to do it? And I'm proud of you.
That's cool. And
then meeting Puri, he was like, I mean, this sounds weird because we're close to in age, but that was like a father figure away from home. Jimmy and Suitbone, Supnit, like those guys look after me knowing that I was a new guy into it. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would tell the realization of this shit. You like, hey, you ain't watching no commercial and that shit's happening. But like,
it's so cool how they put it in the commercial.
Right? I know. I was like, shit,
in a jet.
I'll sign right back up.
I'm in a jet, dog.
Now, because thinking about it, right? Like, and when I joined, because my dad's a Vietnam vet, right? He fucking started crying, dude. I'm like, whoa.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Whoa,
crying like in
like just like almost like a heartfelt sadness, right? Because he
knew,
he saw everything that happened in Vietnam, right? And like, fuck, my son's joined. You never know what's gonna happen, right? And I didn't know. Like, I joined before September 11th, and I was already like enrolled, and like September 11th happened for me on my boot leave, right after boot camp. I was laying on my mom's couch. We have 10 days off before we go back. And she woke me up. She's like, look at the TV, man. And I saw all the planes hitting. I'm like, oh, fuck. Shit's about to go down, right? And so going back to my dad's crying, like now I understand why he did that, right? Like, because he saw like the most intense stuff that humans do to each other, right?
Right. He saw like he knew it was like my son's probably gonna go through something similar.
Like he absolutely could, and I did, right? And fuck, not knowing me joining before September 11th, whether I was gonna go into combat or not, but like he understood like what I raised my hand to do, right? And like started crying. He's like, fuck, man, you did, like, you really signed up. Like, why'd you do that? Right. And I'm like, well, and then I explained everything to him. He's like, well, hopefully you guys don't go to combat because and now I understand, you know, everything that he told me, right? Experiencing all that, you know, my 3 combat tours. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's crazy what humans do to each other, man. It's fucking like, it's so intense, man. It's so intense.
Does it give you kind of like a different perspective as far as like people bickering after what you've seen? Kind of like you don't waste time probably arguing with people. I don't see you as a fucking guy that wastes time.
Like, well, you know, if they get mad about something, right? Like, like, oh, all right, bud. Like, you know, that's how you want to feel. Like, whatever, dude. Like, no worries, man. That's how you want to feel. So be angry or whatever. But fuck, it's so crazy thinking about, you know, combat and like what humans do to each other, man. It's over power and money, and it's intense, man. And yeah, the Battle of Fallujah has probably changed my life forever. And just seeing what we saw, and yeah, definitely. And it gives you a whole different perspective. Like when we're back here and like dealing with people and in the civilian world, and like, oh, yeah, why are you so upset about this? Right? It's not, it doesn't mean like, bro, it doesn't mean that much, right? So
how was that adjustment coming back from that and trying to adapt to civilian life?
So I did my 20 years, right? And I retired a couple of years ago, and then trying to, you know, so the whole aspect of like, you know, transitioning from being a military guy back into the civilian world, right? It's rough, dude. It can be rough, right? If you don't really sit there and you think about it, right? Because you're the top of the world in the military. You know, you do your years, you're high up, fucking
you have respect, right?
People respect you, blah blah blah, this and that. Like you're top of the food chain, right? And then you start transitioning out, and like nobody gives a fuck what rank you are when you get out. Like, oh, you're a Marine, cool, bro. Like, go fucking, you do whatever, right? Whatever job you're in. And so people take it hard, right? Like, this guy can't talk to me like that, or like, or like I'm the top dog. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Nobody can hurt me. Like all these different thought processes that people go through, and it can be rough, right? People, you know, that get up high in the ranks, that transition out, fucking lose their minds, right? And you know, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, they let it take over, and they lose their minds.
What was the key for both of you guys to coming back and being back in society? What do you think helped you? Or
I know what mine was. Mine was just like I got back.
Weed.
No, just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Look at Mike.
Sorry, government. Sorry, government.
Yeah, but mine was like, no. I mean, in Puri, you remember this too, right? You came back. Puri did back to back to go to Iraq, right?
Fuck.
Right, yes, and then I did back to back, and my transition time from being back home was only like I went back over in like 8 months. So you're already prepped to go, like you're in the workup to go. So your mind's already transitioned to, okay, now I'm Puri, right? If you think about that, because I had young kids underneath me my second time.
Now you were the 22, 23-year-old.
Right.
Charged with the 18-year-old.
Right. So I was like, yo, there's not time to skip a beat. Well, I did that my entire career. I just kept volunteering and going. And then I remember after my fourth time going to Iraq, they were like,
God damn.
They were like, hey, you need to take, my wife, God bless, Sabrina, like the best woman, the best thing that's ever happened to me was like, hey, I think you should slow down a little bit. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. So then we went to Quantico, Virginia, but it was still the same mindset because I was teaching officers how to deploy. I was teaching them tactics. So I was in that mindset, and I did that for 2.5 years. I came back, and within 6 months of coming back, I was already on the next deployment on the 31st MEU. And then this is where my life took a change. Like Paisley was born. My daughter Paisley was born while we were in Virginia. My son Cameron was born right when we got back. Or no, I'm sorry. After I got back from that that first deployment, when I got back to a deployable unit, I left 14 days after Cameron was born. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, nope, me and Sabrina been through this enough. Like, things are good.
Yeah.
Paisley's starting to realize it. And Dad's going to be gone for a little bit. And Cameron doesn't care because he's a baby. He's 14 days.
You don't know.
Right? So then when I did that, I did that deployment. And then I went on my 7th deployment. And I was like, all right, now it's starting to affect the family.
Yeah.
So I did the 8th one. And I was like, no, I'm done.
Fuck out of here, Kev.
Yeah. I did 8 deployments. I was done.
Trying to fucking build a basketball team.
Come on, baby.
Shit.
I'll be going to all countries, picking everybody out.
I don't discriminate.
Yeah, exactly.
How's that for inclusivity right there, man?
So that's what the transition was to me. So like what Puri was saying, and he's talking about the long-term transition of getting out of the military, but the quick effect transition was, and it's the same thing that he did, right? He talked about the long-term, and I'll talk about the short-term, was you engulf yourself in the next mission.
Yeah.
That's really what the Marine Corps and the military, it doesn't matter. Navy, Army, anybody has trained your mind to do was, okay, that one's over. Now what's the next one?
What's next?
How do I accomplish the next step in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
So then it kept your mind engaged. And then like Puri's saying, the second you get to slow down, that's when
Everything just kind of
things start, you're like, whoa, what about that shit I did in 2004?
Yeah, then you start thinking about all the fucking shit that happened.
And then my transition was my transition was easier in a mindset because I got out and then I went and worked with the same Marines I trained. I came back, I took a month vacation, went back and hung out with my dad and saw my family. And when I got back, was training Marines on this new vehicle. And we'll talk about that later too, because that was my big piece of the pie towards the end. And it was so funny. The same guys that I trained were like, "What up, K-Dog?" I'm like, "Nope, I will kill you. It's Staff Sergeant Wheeler." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I had a beard. I was like, "No, I'll fuck you up."
Kill you.
Right? And then, but that helped with my transition. Was like these guys that I serve with, and they're joking, right? They weren't disrespecting.
Yeah.
They were just teasing. But like I'm around those guys every day. Like I was just down today working, and I'm with the same guys that I grew up with as Lance Corporals, and now they're gunnies, and we're making decisions on the betterment of the Marine Corps.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So that's always helped mine.
I
So
feel
maybe-
fucking better now.
Yeah. So
Kevin's got it.
no. So, but that's what it is. But maybe I have that same thing when I finally tie this up, and then I'm out fishing on a lake or something like that. Maybe those things will come in. But I've also started because I knew that might happen.
You got a good mindset, dude.
Right.
You definitely did.
But him and I were talking because those things could happen. Then I've already put things in place to make sure they don't happen. I've started doing
Right.
counseling. I've
That's cool.
done meditation, yoga, and things like that to help me
Nice.
to slow my brain down and be present.
Nice. That's what's up. Just the self-awareness gives, I think,
Huge.
would give a civilian hope that you guys are self-analyzing, that you, have the conversations between each other. That type of stuff moves the military forward. You know what I mean?
100%.
Obviously the killing and just doing things that you guys are asked to do, that can be repetition throughout history. But the understanding of a consciousness, awareness of a human being to elevate and to even, I understand that it's not the same level as you guys, but we all make mistakes. We all have regrets. So there's no point to looking back.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're here. It's a beautiful thing to be alive. And, I just much respect and admiration to you guys for being able to self-analyze. Because there's people that I met a chick a couple weeks ago. She couldn't say, fuck that girl, bro. Sorry.
You can't self-analyze? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Like, dude, and then it was at the point, sorry to make this about me for 2 seconds.
All good,
But I'm just saying, if I'm gonna apologize, but you can't apologize, or if I'm a self-analyze, but you can't fucking and it was a new chick, so it's like, bro, I'm not even gonna put energy into this shit. Like, just take care. God bless. I just did an emoji. There's no fucking explanation. You know what I mean?
That's
Like, we got
funny,
shit.
dude.
I know which one he did. It was the guy with the hands up.
Yeah, you motherfucker.
See?
It was like,
I've been hacking your phone for
Or the,
weeks.
You
the
probably
brain
could.
exploding.
Damn it, I
What the
forgot to
fuck?
I
ask
know your
you.
top 10 favorite emojis, man.
Yeah.
That's
It's like,
funny.
I know Michael Gabriel. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
good. We're good.
That's funny.
Sorry,
dude.
Cam, I need
There
this.
you go, buddy.
Hey, so you were mentioning that your dad was military. Do you also come
Yeah.
from a military family as
So
well?
my grandfather my grandfather on my mother's side was in the Navy in World War II, and then my grandfather on my father's side was in the Army during World War II. my immediate family, nope, my dad wasn't, my uncles and things like that weren't. And it was just, and that's it. Look, and I can tell you that because at my dad's house, there's a picture of my grandfather when his boot camp picture, and then a picture of me, and then a picture of my pop writing a letter to my mom in World War II.
Damn,
so it was us three.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
so it's us
badass.
three, and we have the letter too at the house.
Damn, that's tight.
It's sick. So like, it was there, and like, you know what I'm saying, like, but I grew up in like rural Maryland, right? Like, you respect the flag, you stand up, and you respect your principles, and you do those things. So it was always like on the cusp of my mind, and I was like, look, how can I be a better person than I am being right now? And what's the most selfless thing? And like, that sounds, but I was being selfish when I said it. Like, hey, I could make a difference here, right? And then it turned into this just absolutely amazing life with meeting people like Puri and like meeting my beautiful wife and having 2 great kids. And then all the gambit of Marines I've served with is like, I couldn't have done. I think I really did it right.
That's awesome.
Like,
you lucky motherfucker.
Hey, so let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
So after you did your deployments, how did that change the relationship with your dad, or did you understand him a little bit more?
And I like that you're talking about this because, I do a lot of reminiscing on like, why did I join the military, or like, am I? And my dad was kind of, he's a Vietnam vet, right? And now I understand the way he was as I was growing up, but he was kind of like an absent, like kind of guy, like real quiet,
Very stoic.
Yeah, and like maybe like as a kid, and maybe I joined the military maybe to like, please my dad, right? Like, am I joining the military to have my dad pat me on the back, or like, because he was never really there, right? And so and I'm glad you talk about it, because I think after the years of counseling that I've gone through is, that's why I did join the military. Maybe my dad will like give me a pat on the back, or like, hey, good job, son, right? Like that kind of stuff. And I think we all go through that in life, right? Whether if it's our moms or our dads or anything like that, right? Like, and I think that's, one of the main reasons I did join, right? Not because my buddy was like in some cool countries doing this or doing that.
I'm going to the Philippines.
Yeah, right? Like, in all actuality, I was just trying to please my dad, right? And for him to like give me a pat on the back and the attaboy, right? And so, that's probably.
Did it make it better, the relationship?
Fuck no, dude. Fuck that guy. No, he's a wild man, right? Like,
Amen.
I'm like, and I think about these Vietnam vets, right? Like, holy fuck, dude. Like the way they fought, what they've seen, what they've done, like, dude, completely like way out there, right? And like for them to process that and then come home and like get spit on and like all that crazy, like I would go ape shit too, right?
I talked
like,
about that yesterday to the kids.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck America, dude. And
if that was the case, I get it.
Yeah, so they got treated like horribly, and like I think about it all the time, and like why the way my dad is the way he is, right? Like he lives on a sailboat, and like he really doesn't talk to any of us, and like he's kind of like by himself, which is okay. I mean, he does his thing, and like
it makes sense.
All right, Dad. Well, now I understand, right? The way I understand why you're doing what you're doing, right?
And that's good too from an individual standpoint for you to be able to do that for yourself,
right?
To have the understanding, because our parents are our parents, and
we can't choose our parents.
Bro. We can't choose them, and the things that they decide. It's better to, I've been hurt by my parents in some senses, but it's better just to forgive, to move on, because I know myself, I'm not perfect. So it's like, and I know my kids are probably going to have some discussions. That's why I act wild now, so my kids can call me out now.
Right.
Instead of fucking, Kev almost burned his
down. I'm trying to burn it down, baby.
I'm going to put that on a shirt. Baby. No, we're going to put that in a music video or something. I got to get that.
No, what do you say, Kev?
Shake and bake.
Yeah, there it is.
So, well, that was a good time to talk about the nickname. What was it? AM?
Oh, shit.
So
yes, sir.
I'll tell you about AM.
Yeah, it has to be an angry man.
Yeah. So it was angry man, and we didn't know, right? The young kids didn't know, or the young Marines didn't know. And then they were like, AM, and Puri would like fly off the handle. But like we're like, again, I don't understand it as a young kid, but now I understand as a man, he's trying to make sure that everybody else is paying the fuck attention.
Mhm.
Like, get ready, boys. We're going. It's in the joke. And I remember one time we were in the desert, and again, Trevor Allenby, our friend, that we were doing something, they call it police calling.
Yeah.
You walk
Police
on,
call.
you walk online and you pick up trash, or you pick up anything that's on the ground. And it's like,
If it don't grow, it goes.
yeah,
That's
it's
right.
like 20 Marines, right? And our boy Volt, who was like this state champ wrestler, like Volt was a human muscle, but he was a younger guy. He was like us. He was me. Like him and I came in together. And Trevor, we were looking for somebody that lost a round. So accountability, right? So you're teaching a round, a bullet.
One bullet.
One bullet.
We're looking for
In
one.
the desert.
In the desert.
In the desert.
Spaceballs, comb
Right.
the desert.
But guess what? But guess what that is? That's accountability at its finest.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you lose a fucking round?
You're right.
Guess what? We're gonna find it
All
as a
gonna look
team.
for it.
Right. So we're sitting out there and fucking, I'm like, man, I ain't found shit. Like, Spaceballs. But anyway,
Hey, sounds shit,
so me and Volt are sitting next to each other. We're walking. He's like, this is dumb as fuck. I ain't gonna lose this goddamn round. And Allenby, what it's past the statute of limitations. Anyway,
Yeah.
Allenby grabbed him and was like, how are you looking at the ground if you're talking? And went like that. And Volt stood up and like pushed his arm away. I watched Puri jump off.
So this is a junior guy doing this to a senior guy, right?
Gotcha.
Like, no, you're not supposed to do that shit.
I watched Puri from across the desert, probably like 150 yards out, run and jump off his vehicle and come sprinting across the desert. And I'm like, yo, he found the round. Like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, we can go to sleep. Like, and I'm like, no, he found like, and then he comes and I just hear, and you can kind of hear him screaming in the background. And he comes running, and Volt's like sitting there. He's like pumping up against his corporal, and they're getting ready to go at it. And Puri jumps down, runs, and what he's saying is getting more vibrant and louder and clearer.
You just hear the muffles, just
Right,
like
right,
slow-
coming closer. Yo, I'm gonna do it to Mike. He grabbed, he went like this. He was like, I've been fucking shot at. And Volt was like, what, right now? Like in his mind, like, where's that bullet? I've been shot at. And Puri grabbed his head and was like, now please call the fucking desert. And we sat there. So look, I think they found that round and we still sat out there for another 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, good, you all want to talk back? Good, we're gonna figure this shit out.
Holy shit.
we couldn't find it. It's okay. We found it 9 hours ago.
I think a guy pulled it out of his pocket. And he was
Right?
like,
Dropped
oh,
it on the ground.
yeah, he was
I
like-
found it.
Yeah, he was like, oh shit. So that's where AM, but that was his call sign was AM from the first one, but then we all figured it out real quickly in Kuwait at the second.
Yeah, I used to have counseling, right? Anger management.
Yeah.
And so I had to do some of that because of
That makes sense, though.
well, I was a young leader,
yeah,
right?
You're 22, dog.
I was a young leader. Fucking, we're about to go fucking get
Yeah,
shot at, right?
right.
Like, gentlemen, we need to fucking get it together.
Right. That makes
So-
sense. And the guys that was taught to you, instilled to you by the guys who you learned from.
Right.
Correct.
And look,
So
my
you-
second deployment, I did the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
good.
everybody get online. We're gonna sit out here all fucking night looking for a spider. They dropped a spider right next to the room, and I was like, nope, get online. We're gonna police call to find a spider, a camel spider. And I was like, nope, we're gonna be out there for 6 hours. Attention to detail, follow the rules, or you're gonna get killed, or somebody else is gonna get killed.
That's all it takes.
That's going to cost us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, dude. And all these are
Wow.
things kind of improvised. There's no fucking pamphlet of
No,
No, man.
that's what it was.
Bro,
It was
what
these
the
guys.
fuck?
It was these guys teaching me, and then I told my guys.
Yeah.
It was,
Bro,
it's
this
been
is-
passed down.
Sounds like an ass backwards kind of situation.
100%.
Yeah. But now that we're talking about that, man, I'm kind of interested. What were kind of the tactics that you guys saw out there?
So,
Tactics. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
so ours or
Both.
so theirs was 100% guerrilla warfare.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Shoot
Yeah.
and then run through houses. So, and I knew this was going to come up. So I'm just okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay,
First, where's the lighter? There it is.
there it
All
is,
right.
buddy. Get it. Where's my beer? Because this one's a good one.
Hey, Bruce, can we get another one?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm just saying.
So I can tell you when it was. December 23rd, 2004. My corporal, Jimenez, Puri's a corporal at the time. Right? I'm a PFC or something like that. And so we're doing this house clearing, and this shit is wild. It's like nonstop. You're working. I mean, you're operating 14 hours a day, sleeping for a couple if you can. Can I get one too? Yep. Thank you.
There you go.
Need one?
No.
Anyway, all right, good. So you're operating, and you're like no sleep. You're just fucking sleep, deprived. But then it was fucking crazy. So there's a row of houses, and we're driving because the infantry had said, "Hey, we saw, these guys take some pop shots." So Puri's vehicle's in the front. He drives past the row of houses. My vehicle's right at the other intersection where the house is. He's at an intersection, and they're like, "Hey, pop shots." I'm like, all right, fucking stop. And my crew chief, we turn vehicles. And we're driving down this row of fucking houses. And
so we operate in the alleys, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. And the infantry goes in and clears houses.
Yeah.
So all the infantry's loaded this time. And so we turn, we both make a left flank, turn, and we're driving down this row of houses. Well, what they did was, you're talking about guerrilla warfare. They would take a pop shot from, say, house A. Well, they've tunneled all those houses together. So by house H, they've already dropped the weapon. They've already changed their clothes. They're running through all of them. And they would come out the other block. And by that time, the rules in game has changed a little bit. They were like, hey, you have to see them with the weapon, shit like that. That's because we dropped so many of them motherfuckers. Anyway.
Like, it's not fair anymore.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. And then, so we're sitting there and we're like, there's a whole row of houses. And then we get to like, and I could tell you, I could tell you the smell. I could tell you what it looked like. I can tell you where the sun was at. There's a weeping willow on my side. Puri's driving up, and he's kind of a little bit further than us now. But do you remember on our side, they were on the rooftop throwing sticks of dynamite, like Wile E. Coyote, blowing up the street, thinking they're going to get it inside the vehicle. But they didn't get close enough. So, and for some reason, Smokey was in my vehicle that day.
Right.
And I remember Tony was driving, Jimmy was crew chief, Smokey's in the TC, and I'm in the rear. I'm in the rear crewman. They were like, Wheeler, get all your magazines ready. When we pull up, we're dropping these motherfuckers. So Puri's fucking up a little bit further because we slowed down because they were dropping them 6 dynamites. And Smokey had enough and was like, he was a wild man. He was a wild man. But he was
Smokey,
but he was good at what the fuck he did. I mean, amazing.
Smokey.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
And so Puri's a little bit further on these houses. So he's almost like perpendicular to his house. And my crew chief was like, that's it, go, gun it. Well, we gun it past this weeping willow where you can't see. They had a hole in the wall. And what they were doing, there was 4 fucking insurgents sitting from me to where that bathroom is over there with rifles or AKs pointed at us, ready to spray. Puri saw them from the courtyard.
Yes.
Knowing damn well he couldn't shoot because he would have hit us. So he fucking, at the top of his fucking lungs, took his helmet off, started beating it on the side house, and was like, hey, motherfuckers, what the fuck? And they turned. I'm not even joking. I could see the whites in their fucking eyes. Like this, zoomed in on us, turn and look at him, and we dropped all 4 of those motherfuckers right there.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. But it's like that mindset, that leadership, that happened on December 23rd, 2004. I literally text Puri every year, Merry Christmas. Thank you for the best present ever. My life. You know what I'm saying? Like they had us dead to rights.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah.
And Puri, being 22, figuring out I can't shoot this way because it's going to end up hitting one of my friends, right? Just to pause them. So for that, I swear to God, it took 1 second for them to go like this. Look at him.
And that's all it was.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Damn. Just like a millisecond, right?
Yeah. Enough time for them to be thrown off for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're talking about guerrilla warfare, and I'm sorry, you started talking about tactics.
No, you could.
So that's what it was.
Yeah.
We had tactics going in. I mean, we have the standard operating procedures and shit like that. What should you do? No, it was these motherfuckers figuring out from the jump from what you should do and how do we adjust, because these motherfuckers ain't playing fair either.
No, fuck no, they didn't.
And that's what it turned into.
Yeah, it's Wild Wild West, 100%.
It was.
But it was the best time of my life.
That's what I was
Fucking
gonna.
A.
That's another thing I was gonna ask. Like, I mean, 8 deployments. You had multiple
Yes.
as well. Is it like something that you guys enjoy?
So for me, right, like, I joined before shit went down, and what kept me in was going back. Right, it's going to combat. It's almost like kind of like a drug, right?
Yeah.
Like you think about it,
I think so.
that adrenaline, we're hunting other humans, right? And like, to get kind of nitty gritty about it, like it's actually like it's fun, right? Like, and it's such a pump, and it's such an adrenaline rush to go and like, not really thinking about like why we're there and all that kind of stuff, but just going and you're basically hunting other humans, and it's wild, bro. And that rush is addicting. It
Right.
is.
But and I know what you're saying, but I also think the caveat to that is the backside of that is, and you can
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. Being in the shittiest conditions and expecting the best out of your Marines or the best out of the left and right to you, and watching those come to fruition,
Right.
that's the high I live on.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
like, guys, this shit sucks, and you will do what we're trained to do, and you will do what we've trained to do,
right.
and accomplish a mission. And yeah, you can stand up and say, "Yay, we did it." No,
Right,
but
right.
it's that glint in that young kid's eye. It's and not taking life, not any of that. It could be fucking changing a tire, but when shit is getting ready to hit the fan, and you got a bunch of motherfuckers looking at you, going, "What do we do next?" And then you do it, and then the pride, the sense you can feel the pride that they have, the pride that you have, looking not down on them, with them, leading them. And that's what kind of drove me, was like, how can I make my first deployment or my second deployment better than my first deployment?
Right.
I can get buy-in.
Learning.
Now I can get these motherfuckers to really think, this is why we're different. This is why they sent the fucking Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's every branch. Like, don't get me wrong.
I hear you.
The Navy, the Army, the Air Force, National Guard, Coast Guard, fucking Space Force. I mean, I don't know if they've gone anywhere yet, but at the same time, it's like, when you sit there and think, this shit is real bad. It could be, what about, I mean, they sent Amtrackers to New Orleans when Katrina happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, think about that. You trained to do a mission, and like you were saying, like, yeah, you might have to take a life.
Yeah.
Now we're in America saving lives.
Right.
Or like when look, on my fifth deployment, we were helping out after the typhoon hit Tokyo.
Right.
So you shift gears to like, this is what,
it's crazy how we can shift gears so easily.
and that's
right?
what I'm saying. So that's where the reason why I had longevity in the military was because what I expected in a hard time against or for my Marines, training them to the best of their ability, and then watching them execute
right
to the finest. And that's what drove me.
Yeah. Damn. Good stuff. I like it.
That's the leadership right there, dog.
Well, because but that's what I'm saying, because I saw that happen. This sounds, I almost said blossom, but that's not true. But you know what I'm saying? I watched that happen. It was okay. I was push kicked into fucking being a leader, because these guys, went to go teach younger Marines how to operate a vehicle when we went to the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, fucking Wheeler, you been there, motherfucker. Take the torch and fucking go. Let's go. You can be a front runner or you can be a sideline. Yeah. If you're gonna be a sideline, get the fuck out of my way, because you're getting run over. And when we went to Yuma, that's what, when we went on that deployment, YPG,
yeah, that's
how we he was in a different platoon than I was, and it was amazing to watch Puri and I almost friendly compete to see who was going to have the best platoon.
Right.
And I mean, I won, so I'm just saying, baby.
We had a fucked up captain.
Hey, I don't know. I must have
man, fuck that guy.
I must have been taught well, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
What are some of the ways you would say that your leadership and his are different?
Damn.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. So I don't know, man. I think we're both, we're both good leaders because people like look up to us and they want to follow you, right?
They gravitate.
Yeah. And so I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit more strict and I expect more. And Kevin's he and you could tell he reasons, right? He'll have a reason and he'll reason behind everything.
So,
why.
like, this is why we're doing this.
Right.
Okay.
And maybe I won't do that sometimes. Like, bitch, fuck.
Why? Because I said so, right?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily like I said so or like.
Okay.
I don't know. Just maybe because I've already explained to them my experience and like, if you're gonna question me, then maybe you're not. I don't know. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get it. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right. There's no reason. See, and that's what it is. And like, look, I'm gonna look back at these Marines that are here now and be like, well, it was different when I was in.
Right.
But it was different when Puri was in versus me.
Right.
So mine was, and I can tell you again, I'm gonna bring up my dad was with Budweiser. It was always brought to my attention that, it's a team effort. And if you're leading up there with your team, then guess what? They're going to buy in full bore.
Right. Lead from the front.
Right.
100%.
And the Marine Corps always leads from front. But I think at some point there was shut the fuck up and color. And there needs to be that. Don't get me wrong, because I did that too. But I think my mentality was more like, gentlemen, this is not what you will do. This is what we will do. And this is how we're going to get it done.
Right.
And I think, and not one's right, not one's wrong. It was a different time, different era. And
I think we have very similar leadership styles
100%.
because of what we've been through throughout our Marine Corps career, right? Like we've experienced the same people, the same combat we've experienced, and it's worked, right? Like we haven't lost anybody in combat, like in our platoons. We lost them when they came home, but keeping people alive in combat is the key, right?
That's
awesome.
awesome.
You want to bring them home.
That's very impressive.
And so, yeah,
that's awesome.
We've seen and done very similar things,
yeah,
and we have a lot in common. So our leadership styles probably very similar.
100%.
Yeah. Was he always this jacked?
He was bigger before.
Holy
He's
shit!
gone soft.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit!
Hey, what's up,
baby,
baby,
shake and bake, shake and bake. I want to say that this has been really cool. That I would have never had this perspective. Oh, fucking who the fuck's calling me, sir? Oh.
All good.
Yeah.
All good.
I'm on a podcast, dog. You should know that. Anyways, this has been awesome that I wouldn't have been able to do any other way. And it's been really cool to see your guys' perspective and to see you guys have a positive outlook on life and to see just shit. I think people, anybody who takes the time to listen to this is going to get a different outlook on things. You know what I mean? I think we kind of opened up something that I've never heard before. And it's just really cool to be able to have this kind of arena where we can ask these kind of questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you guys can be open. And I'm just really fucking proud of you guys for being able to go through that type of shit and overcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm holding the fucking lantern of truth.
Yeah.
Or some shit with there. But like,
Give me that motherfucker.
I want to save some for Bruce, but fucking get back to you guys. Like this is really cool to kudos to you guys. Much respect. God bless you guys. Whoever instilled to you guys the programs that have allowed you to become positive, to go there, to see the most negative that human beings can offer, and then still have
intense,
love in your hearts and love in your spirits. And it shows what the human being is capable of. It shows that God can still exist after these types of things in people. So you guys, like, fucking cool, man. You know what I mean? I'm just very proud of you guys, and thank you for taking the time. And I'm thankful that I'm that guy at the gym that goes and talks to people. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I'm like, damn, this guy's fucking legit, dude.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pride myself in being like that and being able to have these conversations with people that have done really cool shit in their lives and who take the time to trust me with their lives and and just take the time. So, you know, I could make this fucking podcast go for another hour.
Yeah.
But I told my kids I would be home to put them into bed. So, you know, it is what it is. But is there anything that maybe that we've missed, or just that you would like to get out there in the sense of, from a Marine's perspective, of with the reality it's going on right now?
All good.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Well, you know, I just want to talk and touch real quick on I would say mental health, right?
Yes,
like,
sir.
Mental health is a big thing. I see it today in our youth, and I seen a lot, you know, and even myself, I experienced a lot of it. And you know, getting out there and talking to people, right? And opening up, whether it's your counselor or your friends or whoever it is, right? Like, talk about the most extreme shit that you've been through to get it out and let go, right? Let go of that stuff that you're holding on to is huge. And, you know, I'm a huge advocate for going to counseling and talking to people and letting that stuff go, because holding on to it is no good for nobody. It can go down the wrong paths. It can make you end up in the wrong places that you don't want to be. So, and you know, mushrooms are good, right?
Yep.
God's talking to counselors, talking to your friends, and letting it go is the way to go, man. It really is.
It's
for your mental health.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear you say that, because we got brought up, don't talk, don't fucking show emotion.
Right.
You know?
Like, you know, in the military, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, bitch, you want to go fucking talk to a counselor? You're a fucking pussy, dude. Fuck you.
Why you crying?
Get out of my,
you know?
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm glad you hit it, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Was you know, my transition in mental health is new. It's like I just started 6 months ago, and we haven't
Proud of you, bro.
and we haven't even peeled the onions back about what we talked tonight.
Oh God.
Like, I thought that was going to rip me up, and because of my counselor, you know, setting these tools in place, and you know, and getting ready to peel that onion.
Yes.
I feel better. And like, you and I could talk on beers, and that's different. But like, that's an emotion that's coming out. And then I think, when I'm done, okay, well, I just won't drink as much next time. And that is literally every military person out there. It was like, I don't care what you've been through. And you don't need to go through Fallujah. You don't need to go through, you know, Iraq. You have gone through something. So talking about it is going to help you.
Yes.
And I cannot advocate. And that leads me to my last point, was family is everything. My wife has helped me so much, and she's seen the difference in me. There's a couple of things that my dad said was, take care of those that take care of you. Yeah. He has said that to me and you. Yeah. And my dad has looked pointing in the eye and was like, hey, and this is the other thing my grandfather said, surround yourself around good people, and things will always work out. Yeah. I remember 100%. Talking to my dad about Puri, and he was like, yo, keep him in your pocket, bro. That's your brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like, if we can control those little things, go see somebody when you need to, and just be happy with the people that are in your circle. Yes. Then you're going to be good. Things will work out in the best way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to chill with these and kick it with these two gentlemen tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Yeah, yes.
From my brother Luii, my name is Michael Gabriel. From my dude Bruce, who's producing back there, and the dude that I don't know, but I said, what up, dog? Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next Thursday for Puri and Kevin. Thank you guys so much for taking the time.
Yes,
for
sir.
my brother Luii. My name is
me.
Michael Gabriel, man. It's been the Michael Gabriel Show. Hope you guys enjoyed it, man. God bless. Take care.
Yeah.
God bless.
Shake it back. Check it back.